Oh, hello, boys and girls. Oh, Caesar, my man. Caesar, we're in chapter 14. Are you with me? Uh-huh. Now, Caesar, this is a map of the United States. You still with me? Yes. My history kids are really smart, and they know in our eighth grade studies this year that the United States has grown over time. Piece by piece, territory by territory, eventually our land extended from the Atlantic to the Pacific and manifest destiny was achieved. Okay. Now, this is important to know, Caesar, because with each addition of land, each new territory we gained, the question became, should we have slavery in this territory or not? Okay. This is especially important because where we left off in chapter 13, the United States just gained a bunch of new territory when we won the Mexican-American War. You see, Caesar, there was this treaty, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. That's right, Caesar. I'm very impressed, not only with your history, but your Spanish. Anyway, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which ended the Mexican-American War, Mexico ceded this vast chunk of territory to the United States. And we all know what happened in California. Gold. That's right. Gold was discovered. The population boomed, and soon California was ready to become a state. And this is where we pick up with chapter 14. Caesar and I want to help you with these questions because California becoming a state was one of the things that divided this country and led to the Civil War, which is what chapter 14 is all about. Now, these questions, which you're going to have to me by Friday, the first one says, what's up with California? How did it add tension and trouble to the debate between the North and the South over slavery? Well, I don't know if you guys remember, we're trying to keep a balance of equal number of free states and slave states. We're trying to do this because if it's equal, no side will have an advantage in the Senate and the House and in Congress when it comes time to make laws. No side can make pro or anti-slavery laws if there's an equal number in Congress. We're trying to keep the balance. If we add California as a free state, which is being proposed, it's going to upset that balance between free states and slave states. And thus, this is where the arguing and controversy begins in chapter 14. So, to settle the argument, the boys in Congress passed this new law called the Compromise of 1850. It's the first few questions again on your chapter 14 questions. So here's how they solved the California problem to make both the North and the South happy. To make the North happy, California is admitted as a free state. They get that win. They also abolished slavery in Washington, D.C. This is good news for northern states. The bad news and the good news for the southern states is now all this new territory gained in the Mexican Cession territory, this stuff right here, besides California, it's going to be open to popular sovereignty to decide whether they have slavery or not. This basically destroys the Missouri Compromise, where they had previously said there was going to be no slavery in that territory. Now they're going to let the people vote on it and decide. This is a huge win for the South. The other controversial part of the Compromise of 1850 was that Fugitive Slave Act. Basically, this law required Northerners to help recapture runaway slaves. It basically allowed any African American to be arrested and being accused of a runaway slave. These accused had no right to a trial, and Northerners were basically forced to help recapture runaways and also could face criminal prosecution if they helped slaves escape. This makes Northerners angry. So we all know compromises are, you give up a little and you get a little. And that was the idea. But the North feels like they gave up too much. Again, sure, they got California as a free state and slavery was banned. But basically opening up it to the territories to a vote, this tough new fugitive slave law, Northerners are really unhappy with the Compromise of 1850. It essentially undid the Missouri Compromise, and it basically makes it against the law for them to help with, like, let's say, the Underground Railroad or helping slaves escape to northern territories or Canada. So Northerners now convinced more than ever that slavery is evil because they're basically being forced to take part in it. So, going back to your questions. How did the Compromise of 1850 make Northerners happy? California, free state, slavery in D.C., banned. How did it make Southerners happy? Again, new territory, the people are going to get to decide, popular sovereignty, and that tough new Fugitive Slave Act. I wrote 2 true or false questions about it. Caesar, are you ready? Ready. The first one, Caesar, true or false? Suspected runaway slaves had no right to a trial to prove they had been falsely accused. True. Yeah, you're right. Of course, it says it right here on the screen, so that's good job, Caesar. My second true or false question, the Fugitive Slave Act law required Northern citizens to help recapture runaways if authorities required assistance. True. Yes. Again, once again, you read the correct answer. Anyway, I just helped you out with 1 through 4 on your Chapter 14 questions, and I feel like we've successfully covered the Missouri Compromise and the Compromise of 1850, which undid the Missouri Compromise, and that tough new Fugitive Slave Act. This is just the beginning of some bitter divisions and a nation divided in Chapter 14. Stay tuned the rest of this week. Keep watching every day. Tomorrow, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Keep working on those Chapter 14 questions. Caesar, anything you need to say? Bye-bye.